Okay, welcome students, and here we are with our first lesson over the Progressive Era in the United States. This is a very important time period. We're going to see a lot of change. A lot of the bad stuff and corruption is going to be attacked and destroyed during this time. And so we're going to look at today the origins of progressivism. So the progressive movement was aimed to restore economic opportunities and correct the injustices of American lives. Alright, these are some of those problems. We have economic inequalities. I'm sorry, not inequalities, inequities. Environmental issues, social welfare, working conditions, rights for women and children. And that's just a taste of what you're going to be looking at this unit. And so there are four goals of reformers. Number one is to protect the social welfare. This is the governmental provision of economic assistance to persons in need. To promote moral improvement, changes in character, to create economic reform, to give a government change in policies toward business, to foster efficiency, to give effective use of the resources. Alright, let's talk about each of these in more detail. So industry was unregulated. You've got these big companies that are going around doing whatever they want. Standard Oil, Carnegie Steel, or I guess by now it's U.S. Steel, and so forth. And employers have very little responsibility toward their workers. There are no laws that for workers' compensation if someone gets hurt. There are no laws for a certain amount of hours that they can work and that sort of thing. So they're working these intolerable conditions. But we do see some people fighting back. We have the settlement houses and churches trying to serve communities, such as the Whole House, founded by Jane Addams, which we talked about in our last unit. We also have the creation of the Salvation Army. It's going to take on service roles. We're going to see promoting moral development. Some reformers believe that the problem with society is their personal behavior. So we're going to see reforms such as prohibition, because we have groups like the Women's Christian Temperance Union want to ban alcohol so that men will become better husbands and better family men and not go off and get drunk. Part 3, creating economic reform. The Panic of '93 is going to prompt Americans to question the capitalist system. Many workers are going to become fond of socialism. And we're going to see the creation of the first Socialist Party in 1901 by Eugene Debs. Alright, now, during this time we have what are known as muckrakers. These are journalists, and they expose corruption in business. So, they're raking the muck and that sort of thing. Alright, Muckraker is a name that was first given to American writers in the early 20th century who exposed corruption and scandals in business and politics. We had people like Ida Tarbell, who exposed Standard Oil's company for its questionable methods of eliminating competition. We also have people like Lincoln Steffens, who wrote and photographed living conditions in slums in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Alright, we're going to see increased numbers of magazines, newspapers, and books. Books like Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, who exposes the meatpacking industry. The population's becoming more literate. More people are able to read. Alright? And this allows the muckrakers to have a bigger impact on society. Alright, fostering efficiency is the final one. Many progressive leaders are going to put their faith in scientific principles. They're trying to make society better. So in industry, for example, Frederick Taylor begins using time and motion studies to improve factory efficiency. And we're also going to see Taylorism become an industry fad as factories thought to complete each task quickly. Eventually we're going to see the result of assembly line creating more efficient factories, less byproducts being wasted, so more work can be done. We're also going to see local government be cleaned up. This is going to stem from the desire to make government more efficient and responsive to citizens. They want to see limit immigration influence in local government. Protecting working children. Okay, back then, many children went to work. They worked 12 to 14-hour shifts. And a lot of times they didn't, like in this picture here, they didn't have shoes. Couldn't afford shoes. And they were more prone to accidents because they got tired more easily. The word fatigue, if you don't know, basically means extreme tiredness. Like you're so tired that you just pass out as soon as you lay down or something like that. And nearly every state is going to limit or ban child labor by 1918. We're also going to see efforts to limit hours. We're going to see the Supreme Court in the states enact and strengthen laws to reduce women's hours of work. Progressives will also succeed in winning workers' compensation to aid families of injured workers. Political machines are a problem. We talked a lot about this before. But if you don't remember, a political machine is a group that controls the activities of a political party controlled by a large number of immigrant voters. And these political machines help provide the immigrants with housing when they come to the city. They help them find food and obtain jobs. They gave them special financial aid at holidays. They helped them survive. But in return, they got them votes. And you can't do that to get votes. That's like selling a vote or buying it, you know? You can't buy your vote or sell it. Election reform is also going to happen. Now, the purpose of election reform was to remove the influence of political machines. And so we're going to see progressives are going to be successful at getting secret ballots, referendum votes, and the recall. The recall is the act of removing an official by petition. Okay? Citizens could petition and get what are known as initiatives. An initiative is signed by a certain minimum number of registered voters to force a public vote on the ballot. We're also going to see the formation of direct primaries will allow voters to choose the candidate who would run in the general election. And the first state to pass a statewide primary system is Minnesota in 1899, home of the Timberwolves. And finally, we have the direct election. I don't know if that's the end of the first section. So, we're going to end today's lesson with the direct election of senators. And before 1913, each state legislature would choose its own senators. So essentially, here in Texas, your state legislatures that you and I vote on would pick the senators. So, for example, it's less democratic. It's more of a Republican idea to have someone have an emissary, because in a way we vote the legislatures and the legislators vote on the people, and that's going to change because now we vote directly for the choice of the senators, and that's how it should be. Okay, and progressives will push for the popular election of senators, which Congress will pass the 17th Amendment. We're actually going to talk about 4 amendments during this time. First time and 4 amendments in 20 years. It's a lot. That's a lot. The last time we had that many in a short amount of time was during Reconstruction, which you should have learned about in 8th grade between 1865 and 1876. All right, and that is the end of part 1.